What's up everyone, it's your girl AnaBel J and we are back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about makeup for mature skin. But before we go any further, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you'll never miss a video from me. So I have a good friend of mine here, Lady Sheila. If I told you guys how old she was, you would not believe me. But we are going to give her a little glam session. If you are interested in the type of hairstyle she has, I do have a full tutorial coming up on her style, so be on the lookout for that. So here I am just priming her eyelids with a little bit of MAC Pro Long Wear concealer just to prevent any creasing. For a more mature woman, she has excellent elasticity in her skin, and yeah, it's really supple, it's really plump, and I love that. So I'm using my Jackie Aina palette and I'm going in with the shade Ginger to warm up her crease area, and I'm just using a fluffy tapered e.l.f. blending brush, and I'm focusing this right into the socket of her eye. She has a hooded lid, so we are creating a crease for her by adding the depth and dimension to her eyelid. Now, when it comes to working with more mature skin, I do have a complete blog. I will list that down in the description box below so you can read thoroughly and in detail all of the steps and products that I use when working with mature skin. You want to make sure that you are following shapes and creating shapes that will help to lift the eyes. Sometimes as you tend to get older, the eyelids start to droop. So creating illusions is going to be your best friend when doing eyes on more mature skin. I'm using a satin color. This one is called Dollars, and this is also Jackie Aina palette, and I'm using this on an e.l.f. eyeshadow brush and just packing this onto the lid, bringing it above her natural crease. Again, as you begin to age, the eyelids begin to sink in a little bit and fold over, so bringing the shadows higher up creates the illusion that you have a bigger eye and more lid space. So I went in with the shade Credit to deepen up the socket area and to really add a lot of definition. And she has her eyebrows microbladed, so I am just lightly filling them in with the Maybelline brow pencil, making sure not to go overboard and make them too thick. Now, fuller brow is very youthful, but you have to take into consideration the person's natural eyebrow shape. If they don't have these full fluffy brows, then making them too big will draw too much attention to one area of the face. The whole point is to have the look complement each other. So I'm just cleaning up her brow bone with a little bit of the same concealer that I used to prime her lids, and I'm going to repeat this step on the next eyebrow. Now for the eyes, I like to use more satin and matte colors, especially if they have extremely wrinkled eyes. She doesn't have a whole lot, so we were able to play with a little bit more of a shimmer. For the skin, I slowed it down because I really wanted you guys to see the preparation. Prior to adding the Cherie Amora Glow Drops, I did use a moisturizer from Oil of Olay. From Olay. I don't know why I always say Oil of Olay. I am now applying her lashes, and she does have watery eyes, so they began to lift a little bit, and we did go in and fix that later on, so don't worry about that. For foundation, I am using a combination of the Kiss Drop Foundation with a little bit of the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. The Kiss foundation was too dark, so I did mix it with a little bit of the concealer. If you notice, it is not a lot of coverage. I am doing very thin layers, and I did mix in a lot of the Cherie Amora Cosmetics glow drops to add some extra hydration. It just keeps the skin looking really glowy, very plump. You don't want to do anything too matte on more mature skin. As you begin to get older, you lose elasticity of the skin, and the whole key is to make sure that you are hydrating and plumping up the skin. Work in thin layers. Do not pack on a lot of product. I really do encourage you guys to read my blog. I go very in depth of all of the steps and some tips and tricks as well. So I'm using a little bit of that concealer just to brighten up the face, so that way her jawline and her neck matches. And to add warmth to her skin, I am using MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NW50. I like to use liquids and creams on more mature skin only because I am able to manipulate them and really get a sheer veil. Like I said, I mixed it with some of the glow drops, so I don't want full super coverage on her. I want her skin to look very natural, very glowy. So we're just doing very thin layers and building where necessary. As you notice, I did not apply her foundation all over the face. I just went around the perimeters and then I went into the center of her face with concealer. Now I'm using a little bit of the Fenty Pro Filter Powder very lightly underneath her eyes just to set that product in place. You do not want to bake under the eyes of anyone with mature skin. It will accentuate any wrinkles and lines that are in the skin. So I love to use creams like I mentioned before. So this is a little bit of the CoverGirl Cream Blush in Butterflies number 370. And I'm using this on an e.l.f. Brush to highlight her cheeks, the apples of her cheeks, and I'm going over that with the Shinka Beauty blush and highlight palette. And I mixed a couple of blush shades to create the shade, and then I'm going in with the highlight shade and just dusting this on the high points of the face. Adding a coat of mascara. If, as you can see, we are not adding a whole lot to the face. For the eyes, I opted to use a brown liner instead of a black because black would be too harsh. Smudging out the lower lash line with the colors in the crease and then adding a shimmer shade in the inner tear duct. I'm lightly setting the face with a bit of the Kiss powder and then using a liquid lipstick to line her lips. I love to use liquid lipsticks as a liner because they don't move. To fill in the center of her lips, I'm using a lip pencil. You guys know I love to do things in layers so that way if the lipstick wears off, she still has the color from her lip liner peeking through. I went in with Naked from Shinka Beauty, and now I'm just setting her face with an illuminating setting spray from Sharia Moore Cosmetics. And this literally is the final look. It does not take long. It doesn't take a lot of product. I use very thin layers of everything that I've used, and her skin looks very radiant. She looks very healthy. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.